the best mid-credit scene we've ever gotten, confirming that Season 2 is coming, because if it would have ended like that, I would have lost my mind. What is up, Marvel fans? Welcome back to my channel. The finale of Loki just ended, and today we are going to talk about all of the madness and the confirmation of a lot of people's fan theories, and my goodness, guys, what a finale it was. And like I said, they have now officially confirmed a Season 2, so not only, let's get right into it, is our boy Kang going to continue as the future big bad in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It looks like he's going to remain an integral part of this show, and this show is going to be an integral part of Phase 4, which you know we are all super excited about. And this really is spelling out the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe right before our very eyes. Not only that, but it's also opening up the door for a movie like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We know the exact same writer is carrying over into that movie. And maybe Spider-Man No Way Home, because we now know that there are multiple branches of reality. The multiverse theory is full on. And what they say, 63 at the end concurrently? Yeah, that's room for Andrew and Toby. But let's talk about this episode. So they did something, a bit of a bait and switch on us at the beginning of this episode, because Miss Minutes appears when they arrive at the Citadel at the end of time, and she says it's he who remains is the one that is kind of lurking and hiding away in this castle. And he who remains in the comics is a separate character. He lives at the Citadel at the end of time, which makes complete sense as to who they were pointing to, and he witnesses the birth of the last universe's survivors, who are the Time Twisters, who tried to destroy every era in time, and he's kind of the one that ushers in the new era. So as soon as she said he who remains, I'm sitting back going, okay, well, it's not Kang the Conqueror, but he is a very integral part of Marvel Comics, and pointing to that makes all of the sense in the world, so I wasn't entirely upset until that elevator door opens, and we see Jonathan Majors, who everybody and their grandma knows has been cast as Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and that could still be the case. Well, it will still be the case, apparently, but that was not going to be his first appearance. It was never intended to be. It was a secret that was kept just incredibly well, that he was going to appear at the end of the series and inevitably become the big bad in future seasons, and really the big bad in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But he appears, and he just kind of walks out very quirky-like. He's silly. There's a little bit of madness in there, but it always feels like he knows exactly what he's talking about. And he talks about the many names that people have known him by, one being He Who Remains, of course, the Conqueror, and basically spells it out to our characters that there are numerous versions of Kang that were involved in this giant multiversal war, this battle that was covered up with all of the things that Loki learned in prior episodes, and it was this tragedy that no one has ever spoken about in the MCU, but it all points to one thing, and that is the fact that Kang the Conqueror is an all-powerful being, and we see how powerful towards the end of the episode, and especially that final shot that we get of his statue. But he begins to manipulate both of our characters, Loki and Sylvie, through Miss Minutes at the beginning when she says, you could kill Thanos. You want the Infinity Gauntlet? It's yours. And basically that means so much for a sacred timeline. Miss Minutes is kind of working underneath Kang the Conqueror at this point and spelling all of these things out for our characters. And Kang begins to toy with our characters, but while that's happening, Mobius shows up to Renslayer's doorstep and says he's back very slowly and ominously. Tries to take her down, but of course he's not powerful enough to do that. But while he is there having a conversation with her, we have B-15, who is actually trying to seek out a version of Renslayer. She goes to this random high school, and I'm thinking, where is she at? What is she doing? And then she encounters someone who has no clue what is going on. Basically an alternate version of the character that we know, one of the many alternate versions, as we learned in this episode. And that, again, is just opening up more doors for us as an audience, learning, all right, there are going to be numerous variants, numerous versions of numerous characters, again pointing towards other MCU projects. But Kang has all of this scripted out. He says, I know it all, I've seen it all, I've paved the road every step of the way. Essentially, everything is being manipulated up until a moment in time in the episode when these realities begin to branch off. Everything is splitting down the middle, and he says we have reached the threshold. He also says something that the Joker said, The Dark Knight, everything burns. And Loki says, what are you so afraid of, to Kang? And Kang just, it's the most Kang the Conqueror response I've ever seen. He says, me. And that's when he begins to talk about a variant of himself who lived on Earth, who was a scientist, and these versions went to new lands to be conquered. Each variant fought to preserve their own universe, the multiversal war, and one variant, very specific variant, encountered Alioth, weaponized him, and ended the multiversal war. And he also says in the midst of that conversation, if you think I'm evil, just wait till you meet my variants. And well, we know we're about to meet them because that version of Kang the Conqueror dies in this episode. So the kind of more quirky, not as evil version of Kang the Conqueror, the one that you probably would want to encounter compared to some of the other variants, well, this one is now dead, and we will be encountering the more powerful Kang the Conquerors later on. And this is when he says to our heroes, he says, you know what? I'm tired. I'm over it. And I've been lying to you. I knew what was going to happen until this moment, but at this point, I just want you two to run it. You two take over, or just kill me and expose the sacred timeline, and you won't just have me to worry about. You will have all of me to worry about. Essentially, starting up another multiversal war. And this is when I knew pretty much exactly what was going to happen. I didn't know who was going to take him out, but this is the beginning of the next phase. You know, we had our time with Thanos as the big bad in the MCU. Kang the Conqueror is now the big bad in the MCU. He has taken over the reins, and not only one version, there are multiple versions. But back to this version, he calls Sylvie a murderer. That's when they cross the threshold, and he reveals to them that he's been fibbing the entire time. And Sylvie, you know, she's fed up, she's had enough, and at a point, she just snaps and tries to kill this version of Kang the Conqueror. She wants it all to be over, and she's not having it with Loki. Kang's over there like, I saw you guys about to kiss. You gonna do it again? And sure enough, they do it again. I said do. And Loki's trying to talk some sense into Sylvie. He says, look, I've been where you are, and this is referring to when he tried to take Thanos out in Avengers Infinity War. He says, I've had the opportunity to slay the beast, if you will, and take over and all of this stuff. You have to think. Reminds me of that Invincible meme. Think, Sylvie, think. But, you know, instead, I get it. I get the anger. I understand she's upset. She just kind of kisses him, throws him back through this portal that she opens, and stabs Kang in the chest. She just full on, just see you later. But again, this is not the worst version of Kang. There are versions that you do not want to mess with that are inevitably coming, and this opens up the door for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Loki says, all right, I have to do something about this. He's in the library. He runs in and starts doing a little bit of research, or he is attempting to do some research when he sees Mobius and Hunter and says, look, guys, someone is coming. We just did a bad thing. Bad Loki, bad Sylvie, really just bad Sylvie, and countless versions of Kang the Conqueror are about to, go into our universes, take over this and that. And Mobius just like, wow, who are you? Basically not knowing who this version of Loki is. And Loki's like, all right, what's going on, guys? Did something change? Is this another universe, or are you guys variants? And apparently it is another universe, or an alternate version of the universe that we were just in, because he looks over and sees this statue of Kang the Conqueror in all of his glory. And I sat back and I said, oh my goodness, that's the Kang y'all don't want to mess with. That's the Kang that is about to change the game in the MCU. Probably the most important one. And it really just amplifies every fan theory that we've been seeing. And it's such a drastic difference between WandaVision and this show. And I still really enjoyed what WandaVision was able to bring us, but the fan theories were so wrong. Whereas with Loki, a lot of our theories were so right. And that doesn't spell quality. That just spells a lot of really excited Marvel fans, and now we know the future of the MCU. This doesn't only change this show, it changes every single Marvel movie, and Phase 4 has really began at this point. Multiverse. Doctor Strange is just punching the air right now. He's looking at that picture, he's just like, come on, guys! Got enough to deal with on Earth. He's freaking out. But you don't blame him. And everything that's happening from here on out is just, it's going to get crazier and crazier. I love this. Can you tell I love this show? Absolutely loved it. I'm going to have an updated Marvel ranking for you guys, including the TV series. But first off, if you all enjoyed this video, if you like what we're doing on a weekly basis, let me know. Drop your thumbs up down below, and we'll do the exact same thing for What If. I also recorded a reaction video to this finale, so that's going to be coming on the channel just a bit later after it takes me hours to edit it. Appreciate you big time for watching. You are truly the best. Come back for that ranking, and I did a Marvel Villains tier list. Good Lord. Now that's got to be updated. It's only been 2 days. Okay. You guys are the best. I'll see you soon.